Welcome to the NAHA webinar, brought to you by the National Association for Holistic Aromatherapy. To learn more about NAHA, please visit www.naha.org. Tonight's presentation topic, it's actually the afternoon here, is aromatherapy for antimicrobial essential oils and how to use them. This educational webinar is being presented by Penny Price. Penny grew up alongside the emergence of the use of essential oils and has been a major influence in the evolution of aromatherapy as it has become recognized as an academic discipline. She was initially trained by her mother, Shirley Price, and then pursued her own studies, being awarded the first research degree from Oxford University, exploring the use of essential oils in behavior management and special needs education. Penny founded her company Penny Price Aromatherapy and the Penny Price Academy in 2003, and the company has international distributorships along with designated academies teaching clinical aromatherapy. As a lecturer in the therapeutic use of essential oils, Penny has traveled throughout Europe, the Far East, and South America. She has co-written 2 books and has contributed substantially to peer-reviewed journals as well as populist articles for magazines, alongside writing and contributing to the academic texts on the medical use of aromatherapy and essential oils. After over 35 years of studying the chemistry and pharmacology of essential oils, Penny is regarded as a world expert. To learn more about Penny, please visit her website at www.penny-price.com. And I'd like to just take a moment and welcome Penny for being here, all the way from where she is, and she's on lockdown like we are. So this is a perfect time to have this educational webinar on antimicrobial essential oils and how to use them. So thank you so much, and you can go ahead and get started.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you very much for inviting me to speak to you today. And yes, the presentation is on antimicrobial essential oils and how to use them. So let's get cracking. Okay, so you'll see there in the corner of the screen that there is a logo for my academy, and just underneath there is a logo for De Montfort University in Leicester. I was born and bred in Leicestershire, and I am part of the university there. So I have a working partnership with them. So I lecture for them, they lecture for me, and they have a massive pharmacological department that deals with essential oils. So we do sponsor a lot of graduates to get us some nice research. So I just thought I would let you know that. Because I think that that's important as we go along. They help me with knowledge and so on and so forth as we seek to grow our wonderful, wonderful craft aromatherapy. So we're going to look at some of the pharmacological components that can be found in essential oils, concentrating particularly on the components we find that are antimicrobial and might be able to help us keep safe at this extremely worrying time. So we're going to look at different essential oils, different component parts of essential oils, and we're going to look at methods of use in all sorts of different ways: throat sprays, nasal inhalers, hand gels. Some of those I'll just talk about, and body lotions, and then references for claims. When you get your notes, all the references will be there for you, so you can look them up and see where they've come from. We're also going to look, apart from viral protection, we're going to look at common conditions such as MRSA, that sort of thing, not in any great depth, but just essential oils that are very, very powerful and will help with microbial conditions. It's important that we look at microbes as bacteria, fungal microbes and virus type microbes. So we're looking at the whole gamut of how essential oils can help. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next screen, but it won't go. Okay. There we go. Sorry. So the essential oils are not a substitute for orthodox medication, ventilators, or other proven aids to help with COVID-19. This is obvious, you know, as an aromatherapist, that aromatherapy essential oils are fabulous, but they are not the answer to absolutely everything in life. So we just need to make sure that we understand that they are to be used in conjunction with other things and not on their own. So they are not a substitute for orthodox medication, and they are certainly not a cure for COVID-19. So all we're doing here is looking at oils that can help prevent infection. For some reason, my screen does not want to move from one slide to the other. There we go.
There you go.
Okay, so there are so many essential oils to choose on to help that, you know, you might want to ask the question, well, which essential oils are you going to talk to us about, Penny? We've all got 200 essential oils in our box at home. First thing I'd say to you is, if you've got 200, you've got too many. A good aromatherapist needs maximum 30 essential oils in their box. I can guarantee if you've got more than that, you don't use more than that, and the others just serve as a distraction. So you need to look at your box and look at the chemical components you've got. You need a good sprinkling of each sort of type. So you need the ones that have got everything in, like your ylang-ylang, and then you need some that are majoring in phenols, some in alcohols, some in this, some in that. Some in, do you see what I mean? Because otherwise you will find that you don't use them. And it's better for your learning processes to get used to just a few essential oils at a time and to know them as your best friends. And anybody who's got more than 30 best friends, well, you're doing better than me, because I don't have that many. By choice, maybe. I don't know. But, you know, just make sure that you're not overthinking things and confusing yourself. It's much easier to go to ones you know. So which ones do we choose? Well, some are antifungal, some are anti-inflammatory. The most amazing thing in your box is that every single one of them is antimicrobial to a greater or lesser degree. I'm not saying put your hand in the box and just pull one out for COVID-19 protection. That's not going to work, is it? But on the whole, your essential oils are built on terpene type structures in the main, and terpenes are bracing, tonic, and very, very strongly antimicrobial, depending on which terpene you've got in which essential oil and the synergy. So having determined that any essential oil can help kill certain types of microbe, there are obviously some molecules that are more effective than others. Monoterpenes themselves are electropositive, and some can be quite aggressive to microbes, like you know, one or two that you find in there. The paras, definitely. They are relatively safe molecules though, and they release their full power when they're blended with other molecules that are already in the essential oils. And children and the elderly and the infirm shouldn't have any contraindications to straight terpenes. They're usually quite nice, you know them, limonene and the like. I'm just going to talk for a moment about one essential oil that gives an example. It's an oil I don't really like, to be fair. It keeps me running in circles trying to get a really decent one. But tea tree oil, for example, has up to 40% of monoterpenes, and that contributes considerably to the overall effect of the oil. It's also got a little tiny molecule in it called paracymene, which you find in quite a lot of oils that are very, very good on antimicrobial situations. So worth looking out for, but people can get skin irritation from paracymene. You can tell by the name, it's a terpene. So just check with tea tree oil how much is in there, because if you get a bad one where there's lots of paracymene, you're much more likely to get a reaction. However, in general, the 40% monoterpenes make tea tree a very, very strong antiseptic. It's 12 times stronger than household carbolic. I don't know about the States, but in the UK, when I was a child in the 50s and 60s, oh, it sounds ages ago. It was ages ago. We had carbolic soap at school to wash our hands, something that really should be reintroduced, I think, given the present situation. So you can see tea tree is really, really strong, 12 times stronger than carbolic. Wow. Clove is stronger than tea tree, beats it hollow. Loads of essential oils, well, a handful of essential oils beat tea tree hollow. So you see, we've got a lot of good tools at our fingertips here. So if there were just one reason for tea tree to be antimicrobial, of course, that would be simple. Oh, it's the monoterpenes. But of course, essential oils have internal synergy. That means that all the molecules in any given essential oil work together to produce a unique combined effect. Just to clarify that, there are certain essential oils like hyssop that have ketones in. Sometimes taking the ketones out makes the oil worse than if you'd left them in, because the internal mechanism of the oil quenches, synergizes, and makes it what it is to do what it does with minimal risk. So synergy is good, and we should always use essential oils that have been farmed properly and distilled for the right length of time, and we've got the whole thing. Make sure they're not produced for the perfume trade, where all they want is the smell, of course. So other good antimicrobial agents in tea tree are alcohols, quite a lot in there actually. But the very best are phenols and some methyl ethers, but they are quite aggressive comparative to monoterpenes and alcohols. So synergy, synergy, synergy. Think what's in your oil. Think, should I use it? Can I use it? There's so much fear surrounding how we use our essential oils. So many myths. It's unbelievable. I pride myself on being a myth buster, to be fair. So if I go off on one halfway through this, please forgive me. So let's just look at alcohols to start with, because these are very, very important. Alcohols are one of the safest components in your essential oils. So when we are looking at an essential oil, you know that alcohols, if you've done your training, or if you're about to, you will find out they are nice to the skin. Very rarely get an allergic reaction to an alcohol-based component in essential oil. They are pain relieving on varying levels. Some of them are just topical, some of them, like menthol, are really, really deep, and they are antimicrobial. They're also very uplifting, which is something that we should bear in mind during this lockdown. So many people are getting depression and have thoughts that are taking them out on limbs into places that maybe some of us understand and maybe some of us don't. But, you know, we need to make sure we're looking after our mental health as well. So tea tree's got a fair amount of terpinol 4-ol, which is great. It produces a wonderful, efficacious antimicrobial essential oil, and other essential oils that are high in alcohols, just for your delectation and delight, because you could have looked these up yourselves. But rosewood, palmarosa, bergamot. Rosewood is, along with hoe oil's amazing, 90% alcohol. You know, that's a nice, gentle antimicrobial approach for children, the elderly, for yourself, that is gently uplifting. Bergamot at least 30%, lavender 50%, palmarosa is about 80%, you know, and don't draw in a gasp about me using rosewood. We use it quite a lot in our company. We have it sustainably sourced from India, and it's distilled from the leftover chippings from furniture making. So there you go. Nice if you can get it, which we can. The next important group, but more aggressive on the skin, are phenols. Phenols are built on the same functional group as alcohol. So basically they're the same. They're pain relieving, they're uplifting. They just do it all ramped up a little bit. Instead of alcohols being a rowing boat, imagine sticking a motor on it and just having everything just ramped up a notch and being more powerful. So they are much more powerful in that they are more pain relieving, more uplifting. You can use phenols on severe depression, and they are much more antimicrobial on the whole. I'm generalizing here, but on the whole they are. But we have to take care with the liver and the skin. If you're just doing massages every day and you're using phenols, saying 4 massages a day, I wouldn't worry too much. The amount of essential oil that gets through the skin is minuscule. You're only using a few drops per massage, absolutely minuscule. What you will notice, of course, is that you stay healthier and that you have a better immune system than people who don't massage all day or use essential oils. So the 3 significant phenols that we find in essential oils are carvacrol, found in oregano, savory thyme. We'll look at Latin names in a bit. Eugenol in cinnamon leaf, clove bud, clove leaf, and thymol, oregano, savory, and thyme. So if you want a really powerful effect, if you really want to protect yourself, these are the ones that you wipe your work surfaces down with. These are the ones you put in your hand gel. These are the ones that you inhale, you know. So these are they are the bee's knees. And coming back to De Montfort, they put my Origanum compactum from France, where we have we work in cooperation there with farmers that grow for us. They discovered that our oregano kills E. coli, Staphylococcus aureus, MRSA, stone dead, absolutely stone dead. I mean, it was just a revelation. That was in vitro, not in vivo, but we'll come back to the in vivo because I've seen it work. Aldehydes can be very powerful antimicrobials, very powerful. Some of them are even antiviral, like True Melissa, Litzia. Oxides can also help with viral infections as well as being antimicrobial. You find oxides in Eucalyptus family, not all are eucalyptuses, of course. Ravensara, myrtle, rosemary, rosemary cineole, obviously. And they are really quite powerful, and we will be returning to these other components as well. And then terpenes are in every single essential oil. Essential oils are so powerful, but I want you to remember when people start scaring you about them, their energy does not exceed the energy of a human being. It can't actually take over your life and do things to you that it shouldn't happen, as long as you use them in the right dilution. Everything has to be done with integrity. So you have to use the right oil for the right person with the right problem, if you like, if there is a right problem, and in the right dilution, and you should really be fine. So there we go. That's my take on life anyway. So let's start by having a look at essential oils that Penny Price Aromatherapy are using now and also used in 2009 with bird flu and before that with swine flu, because all of those are COVIDs. They're all corona type viral infections, so they're much of a muchness. This is just a new one for us. So Annie's Star, I can almost guarantee that hardly any of you ever put that into a massage, let alone have it in your box. A, it doesn't smell that particularly nice, and B, why would you? Everybody wants lavender, geranium, lemon, bergamot, peppermint, you know, they want the standard. If you're going to have one of your 30 oils in the box, Annie's Star, congratulations, because it is a fabulous, fabulous oil. And while you have to use it in small dilution because it can be skin irritant, it is amazing. I mean, in a massage oil, you wouldn't get the skin irritation because the carrier oil that you use will carry it and spread it over the body. It's just not one to use undiluted on its own anyway. You would need something to buffer it. Okay, and I don't want to go into using essential oils neat at the moment anyway, because UK and America think differently, I believe. So Annie's Star is very, very popular in the medicinal world, sorry. So it has a lot of polyphenols in the essential oil, and these are primarily responsible for its antimicrobial and its antioxidant properties. The oil is known to have antiseptic properties as well, so it's pain relieving, it's antiseptic, it's analgesic, and it provides the skin with a protective layer against infections and sepsis. That means if you put this particular oil into your hand cream after you've used your antimicrobial hand gel or whatever, or you've washed your hands, this will help to protect you from incoming disease. So that's worth knowing. Yeah, you'll smell deliciously aniseedy, but yeah, you know, we put these star anise in our cooking and we ingest the oil. So it's just, you know, we have to open our minds to which oils are going to help us through this, really, and this is one of them. Okay, so it has a vital function as a source of shikimic acid. Those of you that have done studies in aromatherapy will know that the shikimic acid pathway leads you to phenols and methyl ethers, and they are powerful antimicrobial agents. And it's from these shikimic acids in Annie's Star that Tamiflu was developed. Tamiflu was used against bird flu, avian flu, 2009. Okay, so in the flu pandemic of 2009, this was in great demand and they couldn't grow it fast enough. It comes from China. They were harvesting it and sending it off to the labs and the pharmaceutical companies to make Tamiflu. It can't prevent infection, but it can reduce the severity. Okay, it can't prevent infection, but it can reduce the severity. And you've seen them all on television, gasping for breath. You want anything that will reduce the severity. Now, we don't know if it will work on COVID-19. We don't. But hey, it's worth a shot, isn't it? I mean, we have to try what we can. It's grown in 4 provinces in China, and Roche was the chemical company that found out that this was good for H5N1. Okay, there's a lot of manufacturing to get the shikimic acids out and so on and so forth, but hey, I think they're amazing to find out these things. It's great, isn't it, that people work so hard on our behalf to keep us well. Okay, so that was Annie's Star, and I put it top of the list because it is for me, and everything that we are making now, we're supplying the NHS with hand gel, with hand creams, with hand washes, and they've all got Annie's Star in. We're supplying care homes. We're quite busy actually with not much room for anything else at the moment, but everybody's doing it. Our local gin distillery is doing it, so you know, we're all trying to pull together at this difficult time. The next oil that I recommend is rosemary and the cineol version of it. So that means it's about half cineol and half monoterpenes, roughly. Got other things in, but that's about it roughly. So you can see it's a good mix. and it's there because people like it and people use it. I don't want to go through the whole epileptic thing with you. You have to use quite a lot to get that effect. If you're in doubt, don't. If you feel safe, do. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I have used it on people with epilepsy because they like the smell and they picked it out of the box. But it's everything in moderation, isn't it? Everything in moderation. I like a glass of wine with my dinner. I was telling Kelly before we started this, but I wouldn't want a bottle of wine with my dinner because that would be stupid. You know, so it's everything in moderation. But you have to do what you feel comfortable with. So don't ever take yourself out of your comfort zone. Okay. It's all in the consultation. You get what you need to know and what you need to use from an in-depth consultation. And I will say that I've sometimes spent a couple of hours on a consultation and then realised I haven't got any more time to give them a massage. So I just sent them out with a blend. Come back next week, Mrs. Okay, so rosemary. It's one of the most popular medicinal plants in the world. It's used in a lot of medicines, or bits of it are. It's also used in a lot of food, obviously, to flavour things and so on and so forth. It prevents the breakdown of acetylcholine, which is one of the chemicals in the brain used for memory and concentration, which I'm sure you already know. The wonderful Jim Duke explained it very well. He said you need to put a drop of rosemary cineole on your wrist every morning, because then it will prevent you from memory loss and maybe even dementia. And then he looked up at the audience and he said, "Oh, I've forgotten what I just said. It's not working." And we all collapsed, obviously, in laughter, but it is true. Memory and rosemary go together, and there are a lot of studies to support that. So that's good, because there are people out there in homes with dementia who haven't got a clue what's going on, so include it in your treatments. It eases stress when inhaled by decreasing the levels of cortisol. We know what cortisol is. It's something that invades your body when you're stressed. You make too much of it and it gives you this fuzzy feeling in your head like you can't cope. And then it's anti-inflammatory. It stops the migration of white blood cells to injured tissues to release inflammatory chemicals into the bloodstream. So it's a brilliant, brilliant oil. And yet we use it for what? Arthritis. Yeah, it's great for that. But when you look at it properly, there are so many things this oil can do. It's a wonderful, wonderful blend of amazing chemicals that can just produce fabulous and wonderful results. Next one. Here it is. Here's a bit more about rosemary. Rosemary, in a study in the Zika virus, that's transmitted by mosquitoes, showed that a 12.5% dilution of rosemary essential oil repelled 100% of the mosquitoes for 90 minutes. You're going, 12.5%, that's dreadful. It's not as dreadful as having the Zika virus, is it, really? Come on, think about it. So what do you want to do? Put a 12.5 ml in 100 ml of almond and spread it over your body, or do you want to get a Zika virus if you're in that part of the world? Well, I know which one I'd do. It just, you have to do these things with a reason. You wouldn't just put 12.5% dilution on everybody, would you? It's for a reason and it's thought out, and I just think that's amazing. So it prevented the spread in this particular study, and everybody ended up being well. Everybody ended up having much better circulation than they had before they started, and a much better white blood cell count. So there you go. Litzia is next. You may know this as Mei Chang, but I just call it Litzia because the Latin name's easier to remember then. It's Litzia cubeba. And there it is. It's a lovely mild sort of lemongrassy smell. One of the main components is citral. It's at around 70. You can get it a little bit more than that % of citral. And research was carried out on the effect of the oil on E. coli, which obviously is an infection of the gut. And it showed that once the oil was applied on the cells, the cell growth was lagged. That's the cells of the E. coli, and the majority of the cells died within the first 2 hours or were heavily damaged. And so I guess what they have concluded from this is that it kills E. coli internally. To do that, they would have to have that in tablet form. I have to just introduce you at this point to my wonderful dad, Len Price. He's amazingly dry. He has a wonderful sense of dry British humour. And he was teaching a class once years ago, and he said, if I've got a stomach, if I'm hungry, he says, I don't get a meat pie and rub it on my tummy, I eat it. He says, if I've got a bellyache, I don't look at the peppermint, I take a drop. And I think, you know, it's just so wonderful. The whole class collapsed. And so I just had this vision of my dad rubbing a meat pie on himself, but there you go. Yeah. Okay. So it's a natural antiseptic on quite a high scale. It plays a little part in killing MRSA. It's quite good on Staph aureus, but E. coli is what it's good at, and that is what it does. It's a good antimicrobial agent. So I would include that, because you are, you know, washing your hands all the time. You're not touching your face, but just to make sure, just so that you don't get anything inside your body, this is a good one to have in your hand cream or whatever you do. Let's look at its antimicrobial properties. It is a combination of aldehydes and alcohol, and that makes a strong antibacterial and antiseptic essential oil. And we use this oil in a Nurture antimicrobial blend, because it not only has its own antimicrobial properties, but we found that it empowers other essential oils. It's very, very synergistic. It sort of rallies the troops in the blend to make it more effective. And this is just what we found and what De Montfort have confirmed for us. Talking of De Montfort again, I did a study with them, with a girl that we took for a year doing a degree, and she wanted to see how Litzia and clove and another essential oil that will come to me at one day kills acne bacteria. And she discovered that Litzia was one of the ones that did it. I believe it was geranium, Litzia and clove. And so they killed all the P. acne bacteria, each one individually and together. And when you add them into neroli hydrolat to make a face spray, that actually increases their potency. So you can see a very antimicrobial essential oil and synergistic. Now, we all use this, don't we? Or do we? Some therapists will use this in a massage because it smells quite nice with lavender and bergamot and so many other things. But this is the Thymol variety I'm talking about here for antimicrobial, because this is heavy on phenols. It's commonly used in medical applications. It's often used when empirically for when you're recovering from an illness or a medical treatment. It helps to prevent infection, and it does treat respiratory infections. So yeah, that's good, isn't it? Because COVID attacks your respiratory system, so you really, really, really want to protect your breathing apparatus. And red thyme, as we call it here, or Thymol, some people call it white thyme, but whatever, it protects your respiratory system, and it really is a very, very powerful oil. It is a medicinal herb and always has been. It's antiseptic, antifungal and bactericidal, very high in phenols, as we said. It's antimicrobial, antiseptic, And when we had this one tested against MRSA, it has a 90% kill. So not quite as powerful as oregano on MRSA, but more powerful in other things like pneumonia and infected bronchitis. So, I mean, yeah, most people don't come to you for a medicinal massage, I guess. They come for relaxing and want the lavender, but you know, this is true aromatherapy is about treating clinical conditions as best we can alongside orthodox medications, isn't it? Otherwise, what's the point of us? We might as well just be a massage therapist using blends. Here's my favourite oil. It has to be. It just works for me perfectly. I've used it on leg ulcers. I've used it on all sorts of things, including live MRSA. I have used it in so many things, and it works. It just kills things, except your client, which is good news, really, isn't it? Because you don't want to end up killing your client, do you? Okay, so it's purported historically to have healing properties, and my goodness, it does. I've watched it. I have watched it kill MRSA in somebody's open leg wound that the hospital has been treating for 2 whole years, including maggot treatment. And it's come back, and the oregano just works. It just does. So in addition to it being antimicrobial, antiviral, antifungal, it's also a potent antioxidant, it's anti-inflammatory, it's anti-diabetic. They say it has cancer suppressing agents, but I like it as well because it's so stimulating to the mind. If you've got somebody that's really, really depressed, this stimulates the mind and gets them up a bit, obviously depending how you use it and who your client is. So carvacrol is the main ingredient. It's been found to kill bacteria, viruses, cancer cells. It's just an amazing oil. How many people ask for this when they want a massage? Not many, but maybe it should be in every massage as a prophylactic, who knows, or every home treatment. And as I said, we've used it for in viva for complete kill on MRSA, and that's the result came about because of carvacrol. I'm convinced of it, and obviously the synergy within the plant itself. Absolutely cracking oil. Oreganum compactum. Lemon, also good for as an antidepressant. So it's known to help with exhaustion, depression, reduce inflammation. It is also known to kill viruses. Now, I'm not saying it will kill COVID, like I'm not saying oregano will, but do you know what? If it just helps with the common cold, you don't want that on top of anything else, do you? Not in lockdown. What's the point of being ill in lockdown? Now's the time to sort your wardrobe out, ladies, and for the gentleman to sort the garden out. Oh, how stereotypical am I? But you know what I'm saying. It's known to help with colds, common cold sores, sore throats. It promotes wound healing. It's also good for venal ulcers. And it contains vitamin C, has antimicrobial, antioxidant properties, which will disinfect wounds and promote faster healing. As I say, look up all these references. Some of them are very fascinating studies. And we underestimate the poor old lemon, don't we? Yeah, because it's 98% terpenes. But you can see now why that would be helpful, and 2% citral, and together that simple oil can help a common cold. It can set about killing the virus. Just amazing, just amazing. I actually like oils where there's a big chunk of one particular chemical. You know where you stand with it, don't you? 90% carvacrol, 80% thymol, 50% lavender. You know what you're going to do with that oil, don't you? You know where you're going with it. Anyway, on to Eucalyptus radiata. of all the eucalyptuses, and there are many, there are 3 or 4 that are oxide heavy, and this is one of them, and this is one of the best ones. And I remember back in the day talking to Monsieur Tisserand, who you must all know, and he was talking about it was the AIDS outbreak then, and he was talking with me and Balash about the T helper cells being improved if you used tea tree and Eucalyptus radiata and all sorts of other things. It's now common knowledge, isn't it? But you know, we were there. So Eucalyptus radiata, some studies actually suggest that they are cell protective, so that if you use Eucalyptus radiata, Eucalyptus globulus, Eucalyptus smithi, the ones with the oxides in, they will enter the human cell, as all essential oils do really, and they will be cell protective in a way that could help prevent your DNA being changed. So with a virus, it's different from a bacteria. Bacteria comes in and infects you, and that gets everything up and working to get rid of it. So you have a temperature and a fever and everything else. A viral infection will go in and change the cells if it can. It will change your DNA to what it wants it to be. So, you know, something that's cell-protective is a good idea. So let me look at the chemical components in this. You've got alpha-pinene, great terpene. You've got cineol up to 70%, which is what we were talking about, being cell-protective. Limonene, same as in lemon, and paracymene, which is that little monoterpene I was telling you about, that is, or terpene, sorry, that I was telling you about, that is quite powerful and can give skin irritation if you're not careful. It's known for its ability to reduce and eliminate harmful surface and airborne bacteria upon contact. So it's a good one to wipe your surfaces with. And if it is vaporized, it does help to clear sinusitis, stuffy nose, stops coughs and colds from spreading. And as we said, it's possibly antiviral. There are some studies on that. I wasn't convinced enough about any of them to put them on your list, but they are saying it is antiviral, and certainly they help maintain your cell integrity, which is always a wonderful thing. There you go. It says it all there. There you go. It says it. So it is effective. The word cineol is a great word. Syn comes from kinetic, which means energy, and eoli comes from breathing. So you think of your lungs, alveoli, bronchioli. It's anything to do with breathing. So put together, cineol just means energy breathing, or, you know, to help or aid breathing, which is exactly what this does. And when you've got something as vicious as COVID-19 going around, that robs you of the ability to breathe, this oil is worth having in your top pocket. It really is. I have put my parents' reference in there because they've said it's effective for the common cold and for cold sores, herpes simplex. And quite a few other studies were showing that, but there weren't any raging things against something as important as COVID-19 or flu. So just bear that in mind. Clove. Yeah, if you ever want to break into my mother's PC, that's her password, Cicicum aromaticum. I shouldn't tell you that. No, you're not likely to do that. So, clove. Don't hold your breath and say clove. I never use that in a massage. Of course you don't, but you should. Another one, you know, it does matter that your client likes the smell. Clove does add some warmth to it. It just depends on how you blend your massage mix and how you blend your home mixes. But clove is great. It's a nice thing we all associate with apple pie. My apple pie. So it is an antimicrobial. It's also an amazing pain reliever. So that's quite good to know. It's used to cure respiratory conditions like coughs and asthma attacks. A study showed that the oil has the ability to kill staph bacterial cells in biofilms, which is obviously not in the human body, but pretty close. Biofilms are amazing things. The interesting thing about biofilms is that a lot of antibiotics don't have the ability to penetrate a biofilm, but clove essential oil does. So it'll get through it and kill, or it'll get through it and make you better. That's a much nicer way of putting it. Another study looked at how clove oil had an effect on the bacteria that cause pneumonia and influenza. Clove is antibacterial when added to liquid or when introduced as a vapor. Okay, so you can inhale it or you can add it to a liquid. Now, I'm not sure if that was, I can't actually remember if they counted sunflower oil or vegetable oil as liquid. I think they did. So in a massage, it could be very, very useful. It contains up to 90% eugenol. That's what gives it that lovely woody, sweet, clovey aroma. And it is powerful. It is powerful. It's about 4 times more powerful than tea tree. So, you know, worth having. This is the last oil, because you're probably sitting there losing the will to live going through all these oils, but you know, they're important oils, and they're oils that most aromatherapists don't even think about. So we need to think about them, and this is the last one, cinnamon. And whether we're looking at the leaf or the stick there, it's fine. Same with clove, leaf or stick, but cinnamon we generally use from the wood there. So there it is, rolled up on the bottom of my slide. Also contains eugenol, but also cinnamaldehyde. Cinnamaldehyde, strictly speaking, is an aldehyde, but it behaves more like a phenol. It's a very special type of molecule, and as we know, phenols are the most important thing in our quest against COVID-19, really. These give the oil the properties such as its ability to eliminate bacteria and prevent growth of fungi. And again, in research studies, it's great against life-threatening bacteria, pneumonia, for example, and it's, you know, it's just another good essential oil, also used in apple pie. So you're on a win-win here. Just add clove and cinnamon to your apple pie and sit at home in lockdown, get fat like the rest of us, but know that you're staying safe. So the summary of essential oils. The oils I've spoken about in this presentation are obviously not the only essential oils that are antimicrobial. Of course they're not, but they're probably some of the most powerful. But what I suggest to you is, whether you're a student, whether you're thinking of starting off on this wonderful aromatic path, or whether you've been doing it as long as me, I never stop reading. Just keep reading. Just look at the stuff available. You know, when somebody says there's no research on essential oils, they are not looking in the right place. There are loads and loads of research studies on essential oils and what they can do. So just keep reading. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is the key to your confidence as an aromatherapist. So wherever you are in your journey, we all need more confidence to know we're doing the right thing, especially now, really, for ourselves and the members of our household, and maybe our elderly relatives that you're dropping off stuff on the doorstep. You know, so read and learn and keep yourself learning. Don't let yourself get stagnant, because what you want to be is a good aromatherapist, not maybe even the good aromatherapist. You want to be the best. You want to be the best you can possibly be. Okay, and just another reminder that there's no evidence yet that any of the essential oils I've mentioned can combat COVID-19, but we're just trying to stay safe. We're trying to take every precaution, and I think these are the best oils to help you do that. Okay, let's go on to something a bit more aromatherapy like, if you are still with me. So soaps. When we were told we had to go into lockdown, I whizzed down to the lab, penny price aromatherapy, and made loads of soap for the staff, because soap's good. We do a hand wash with some of those essential oils in that I've discussed, but soap has been recommended in the UK as something that is better, because soap itself leaves a greasy film on your hands. Even if you add the alcohol hand gel afterwards, it leaves a greasy film, and COVID-19 doesn't like a greasy film. So maybe rather than hand wash, if you can lay your hands on some base soap, you can make yourself up some soap to use at home for the bath, the shower, so that you're all over soaped. It took me back to my childhood. I haven't used soap since Camay was out there, but I'm using it now, and it's good to do it. And I've just put you a simple recipe there for 100 ml or 100 grams of soap. You just melt it in a bain-marie. Sure you've all done that before, and you add your essential oils. These are just suggestions, but I've put anise star. Our whole house, every bathroom, we've got 4, smells of anise star. But it's quite comforting, you know, it's quite warming and good. So anise star, Litzia, because Litzia G's everything up, and Eucalyptus radiata. Your hands are your first line of defense against this, so I've put 3 powerful essential oils into your soap recipe, so that you can see that if you were to wash your hands and then add your gel afterwards, you're sort of clean and you're protected. So it says wash your hands for a full 20 seconds. Well, you know all about that. Our government, you can't go onto anything without that popping up. You must wash your hands. You must sing happy birthday twice. There you go. I sort of think of Marilyn Monroe singing happy birthday to President Kennedy, because it amuses me. I'm sick to death of the ordinary happy birthday. But do what you think. Or the Lord's Prayer is good. Lord's Prayer takes at least 20 seconds. Okay, sanitizing hand gel. I've put here an alcohol recipe. I don't know how many of you are able to buy that, to be fair, because as a manufacturer and with a license, I can buy that. But I think they're relaxing the rules here, certainly, maybe where you are, that a lot more people can buy it if they're going to make it into hand gel. So I'll put the recipe there anyway. Some of you may be manufacturers. So this is the recipe. You have to get lots of paperwork to go alongside this in the UK, which we have, of course. So this is what we use around the house here, Bob and I. We have denatured alcohol with water and some xanthan gum. Okay, now xanthan gum is it's a gluten-free thickener that people put into flour to make gluten-free bread. So they use gluten-free flour, gluten-free gum, and the gum gives it the sticky bit that the gluten used to do, and you get yourself a nice loaf of bread. So it's a food stuff that we normally eat, but it's absolutely fabulous for thickening water. It will not thicken the alcohol. It really won't thicken the alcohol. So alcohol and water are 2 completely different things. So what you need to do is you need to add your xanthan gum to your water and leave it, and it will go thick after a minute or so. And then add your denatured alcohol very, very slowly to that, and then add essential oils of your choice. Okay, it takes some time to make it. Just you have to literally dribble your alcohol in to incorporate it. So that's if you're going to use alcohol, okay, which is what they recommend, obviously. And 70%, it has to be 70%. 60% doesn't cut it. So it has to be 70%. But then I thought to myself, why not give you a nice little recipe without alcohol? Because, you know, if you're using the soap and you're using a hand gel on top, and you can't get hold of alcohol, this is really handy. So 70 ml of water and 30 ml of aloe vera gel, both those are water based. So what you do is you add your xanthan gum to your water, and you then add the water slowly into the aloe vera, and you will get a nice thick gel. And then I've given you some suggestions for essential oils there: clove, Litzia. I've put tea tree in. I don't like it, but I've put it in. And oregano. Tea tree is so vastly commercially produced, you really need to be careful where you get it from, because a lot of it isn't actual tea tree. It's been adjusted to what we need, to the right percentage of chemicals. So be careful about that. But if you've got a good supplier, add tea tree, because it can help, and it smells nice on a hand gel. You expect it to smell disinfectant, don't you? So that's that. Hand and body lotions. These are absolutely fabulous to put on after you've washed your hands with soap. If you don't want to use sanitizing gel because it's just you in your house with your family or on your own in lockdown, you don't need to go around using a sanitizing gel particularly. You just need to be clean. So this is an easy recipe, and we're belting this out to care homes. I mean, seriously, my son Toby runs a care home, and he's phoning me up the whole time, Mom, can I have some more? So, you know, it's good stuff. And they're using it as well, the staff, around the faces where the masks are, because they're having to wear them all day. It helps to prevent chafing where the straps are and where the edges of the mask are on the face. So a nice thing to do: pop down to your local hospital, leave these on the doorstep. You need 90 ml of a good quality moisturizing base, so as natural as possible, but you know all that. And then into that you would add your almond oil. That's just to give it this, if you can make it slightly greasier. The virus doesn't like grease, remember, so you're sort of adding a type of protection there. So 9 ml of almond sweet, I've put that one. You can use any really, but almonds are a nice thick texture. You could use olive, you could use sunflower, macadamia, any of those. And then I've suggested lemon oil, Eucalyptus radiata, rosemary and oregano. That makes a very synergistically powerful blend for your hands and for your body and for your face. So if you are one of those that just touches their face the whole time, I am, because if you could see me now giving this, my hands are going all over the place because I talk with my hands, and I'm forever touching my face. So this is great. Use it as a face cream, you know, not all the time. If you want to use it all the time, you probably want to knock the essential oils down to half the amount for your face, but all the same, it will protect you as you go through the day. Room fragrances. I'm going to talk to you about two that we make, and I based my presentation on these oils really, so it will come as no surprise to you to see what I've used for the blends. We make an antimicrobial range, and our room fragrance there on the left is our bestseller. It is Anise Star, Thymol, Pine and Lavender True. So why have I used lavender and pine out of the blue? Well, lavender is there because it is antimicrobial, but also it gives a nice smell, so you know people are going to be more likely to use it if it's not totally medicinal. And pine, because if you're going to use your essential oils as a room fragrancer, pine is very, very antiseptic when it's airborne. In the UK in the 80s we had a fire, underground fire, and a lot of people were taken to King's Cross Hospital with a lot of burns. My mother got on the next train down with her box of essential oils because that's what she's like, and they burnt pine in the wards to stop infection spreading from patient to patient, because some of them were like so burned it was unbelievable, so exposed to infection. She had so many letters from people who survived. It was an amazing thing to do. I wish I had her energy and courage. I've never done anything like that before. So it's just what she's like. So pine helps prevent airborne diseases, and used on its own, it can be used inside the septum. Now, you know that little bit inside your nose where you pinch it there, okay? That is where the virus is most likely to enter your body. So that is very, very important to protect. Now, you can use the hand cream, you can use your hand gel, you can wash it out with soap, but if you just, I'm not even suggesting a drop, if you just dampen your fingers, your thumb and forefinger from the end of the bottle of pine, and just pinch the septum every so often through the day, you can help yourself, really. Whenever I use my hand gel, I push it up my nose as well. Stinks. But, you know, I'm not going to get this thing. I've decided, I made that decision. I hope I'm right. You can use both recipes in the vaporizer, the bath, and in the wash, you know, to wash your clothes, your bed linen and everything else. The second recipe, we have something called thieves oil here, maybe you do too, and it's traditionally made up with rosemary, cinnamon, clove, eucalyptus, radiata and lemon, and that is because it's meant to be an antimicrobial defense blend, so that if you use this, you will not get diseases. I don't know where it got its name from. I haven't researched that, but it's very popular here, and we sell a lot of it. And you can see why. It's got it's got all of our antimicrobial oils in there, so it's amazing. It's great. And you can add that to massage oil as well, can't you? You know, just a few drops into your massage oil for use. Rollables, you need rollables, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pocket hero, a rollable, a pocket assistant to carry round for instant help. Handy to use, easy to carry, used for stress, anxiety, breathing or antiviral purposes. Don't underestimate the power of an anti-anxiety rollable at the moment, because all of us are worried about it, even me. So, you know, and I'm blasé about most things, so look after yourselves and your family. This one I've used as an antimicrobial, and what I suggest in a rollable is that you have 1% in the 10% is essential oils. So that works out as a 10% blend. 10% blend. So you've got 10% essential oils in 90% carrier. You use whichever carrier you like, but I find that coconut doesn't clog up the ball mechanism at the top of the roller like some of the others do. It keeps it nice and free flowing, and you can use any essential oils you like. I just suggested these, but if you wanted to make it for sleep or for stress or for respiratory conditions, please do, and just roll it around your nose. Again, you can roll it around the septum, across your top lip to inhale there, keep your airways clear, and your pulse points, obviously. I suggested rosemary, star anise and lemon. It smells jolly nice, actually. It smells like some fancy dinner. Why have I put 10%? Sorry, I should explain that, because you're only using a very, 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 very tiny amount. Okay, you'll hardly get any out there. A rollable lasts forever. Nasal inhalers, these are great. These are all the rage in our NHS hospices and care homes and so on, for people who are in end-of-life care particularly. Perfect route to the lungs to keep your lungs healthy. You need to keep your lungs healthy. So to use these, if you've never used them, you can get them on Amazon now. They're great. Just get the empty nasal inhaler containers, and you can see to the right of the main body of the container, you've got like what looks like a cigarette filter. That's what you're going to put your essential oils on. You pop that into the mechanism, screw the end on, then you shove, well, you take the outer cap off and put it up each nostril. So just like a Vicks inhaler, you put one nostril and inhale, put up the other. When I'm treating people with asthma, these things are invaluable. If it gets really, really bad, they suck the end of this inhaler very gently. So if you suck too hard, you'll get too much essential oil in your lungs at once, but very, very gently, nose, wipe it obviously before you put it in your mouth. And it just carries it down into your lungs in a really deep way. I've used here 1/4 ml of each. That's 7 to 8 drops of each essential oil, pine, lemon and rosemary. You can use whatever you want. You just drop them straight onto your cigarette filtery looking little thing and pop it in, and it's good to go. We do have an offer for you because that's all I'm going to talk to you about today. I hope you've enjoyed it, but before I go, we would like you to join our PPA family if you haven't already. So we are offering you 10% off CPD e-learning courses. Since lockdown, my brother Matt, who works for the company, has been working really hard to get as many of these done and finished as possible so that you have a choice, but there are more going up all the time so that people can learn in lockdown. How's that for a slogan? Learn in lockdown. And you just need to use the code NAHA when you go onto the site and pick your course. So that's good. I don't know if you get points for my courses with NAHA, but hey, you could ask, couldn't you? So to conclude, there are lots of different molecules that are antimicrobial, and all essential oils are antimicrobial to a greater or lesser degree. But you have, apart from the monoterpenes, you've got alcohols, phenols, aldehydes and oxides, particularly having varying degrees of antimicrobial activities. So please use them. Please use them for yourself, your families, your friends, your clients, because the more of us stay protected, the better. And it would be so awful if we didn't look after our loved ones and we discovered it was too late. We need to know we've done our best, I think. Even if it's just anti-stress blends that you're giving out to relieve the tension. But if you need any more information about anything, please do get in touch with me through the website. And thank you so much for giving your time to me. I think I've run over quite a bit, but thank you so much for listening. Stay well, keep safe.
Thank you so much, Penny. We really appreciate it. Thank you. It's incredible information. A lot of feedback coming in already about your wonderful handout. And I love how you said no matter how long you're in aromatherapy, keep reading. Reading is one of my passions, and books. And I learned something new today from you with the anise star. I actually have that in my little aromatherapy kit. That's my husband's favorite oil. He loves the smell of that, but I got to pull that out now and make some blends with that. So thank you for sharing that.
It's a pleasure. I'm glad you've got it.
Yes, he loves the smell of that. So, all righty. So I'm going to stop the recording, and I just wanted to once again thank everybody for being here, and thank you so much, Penny, for this wonderful, empowering, educational webinar. Thank you.